What is up, y'all? Bati here, coming at you with another teaching battle poker video. This one's gonna be a little special. Just yesterday, it's still before midnight. I can say yesterday. Just yesterday, we finished our second ever weekly league format. We had 32 players sign up, play 6 games over the course of 6 weeks for points. And the top 8 got to move on to a final table for prize money. The 9th through 16th players were the runner-ups, and they got to play a final table of their own, where the winner only got an exclusive skin. So, the runner-up table did not get streamed. We focused on the final table, so I will be covering the final table later this week, hopefully with the winner, who I will not spoil here in case you have not gotten to see the video yet. But we are going to go ahead and look through the runner-up table here. One thing to note, kind of like the very first teaching battle poker video series I did, this is a 300 gold game, so it is a deep stat game compared to your regular pub games of 125 starting gold. Action is going to be a little bit slower to start. It's going to take a little bit of time to ramp up, but it gives the players a little bit of extra time to kind of navigate the playfield, get some reads on opponents, establish a base of like how they want to play, and kind of go from there. So should be interesting. Again, only first place takes anything down in this tournament, so we are going to be looking at it purely from a winner take all perspective. This is not going to be from like MMR plays or like regular sit and go, like aiming for top 3 plays. Like, this is purely like winner take all. We're going for the win here. So let's unpause and see what we got on the first hand. That's not the pause key. That is a little bit loud. Let me fix that first. I'm so sorry. There we go. A little bit better. All right. Actually, that's still a little bit loud for my liking. I'm sorry. Cool. All right. So, Ninja and Z-Pro, they're both in early position, but they have the only hands I'd consider opening with here, and Z-Pro honestly shouldn't probably even open with the carriers on the first hand. A lot of nothing here. Let's see what happens if anybody wants to take a shot. McSharp sits tight with the 3 Hellions. 22 goes for Olive Tree. Z-Pro probably has a playable hand here. Ninja probably has a playable hand here. But again, they're in early position. That's going to suck. Okay, so let's see what Ninja's doing here. There's 2 pretty, well, actually, I wouldn't even say 2. They're like, the main reason he's betting so big here is that he's already lost a street of value. Remember that in poker, a lot of times, a strategy when you have, like, an okay but not great starting card, or, a drawing hand where, like, I use this example all the freaking time. Marines. Great DPS. They will kill a ton of stuff. They cannot survive without tanks in front of them. They're a drawing hand. Unless you draw something really good to pair them with, you're going to fold 50 Marines with Terran 3-3. Because they're just going to get annihilated by anything that looks at them sideways, right? So the idea with Marines for your first card is to raise to increase the size of the pot when you get called. Therefore, you can make a bigger bet on the second street and profit more from the hand when you hit your card. Think of it like this. If you normally are going to raise to like 5 when the ante is 1, right? And you get 2 calls. 2 calls, 5, 10, 15. There's 3 people, plus 5 more people in the pot, 5 more antes in the pot. So you have a 20 total pot, right? Now on the second card, you can bet anywhere from like 7 to like 14, 15, right? If you check that first card, and then you get something good on your second card, and you want to bet it with the Marines, now the pot's only 8. You can only reliably get away with a bet of like 4 to 5. So by risking that first 4 chips to raise to 5 and get those calls, you're suddenly making a much bigger profit on that second bet when you hit and you get called. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of times that you have to fold that second card when you don't hit, or you're going to check it around and you're going to lose when you don't hit. That's not a big deal. Over the long run, if you're playing your odds correctly, you should be able to profit from that situation over the long term. So, what he's doing here, Ninja, he realizes that he lost the value in the first hand, right? The first card, right? He only had the 15 Vikings. He was in second position. Not a great raising situation. No upgrades. First hand of the tournament. That's just, like, let's just sit back and see what happens. Now we have 72 Banelings. We have air pretty well covered. We have ground very well covered. There's just a lot of goodness in this hand right now, and we want value out of it. So he's going to overbet the pot with the hopes that somebody just binked something on their second card, assuming, of course, everybody had already checked on the first card like we saw, so we're going to assume nobody really has anything. We're going to hope that he is up against somebody that only has a strong second card and not a strong combined hand, and we're going to be able to crush it either with that Viking coverage or with the Baneling coverage. I like this play sometimes. It can be pretty well readable. It's also good to kind of use this to mislead people on rare occasion, because again, this bet in particular, when you overbet the second card after checking the first card, also just kind of looks like you binked 25 Ravens, right? You just got like eight battle cruisers, 8 carriers, whatever. The fact that you have a strong combined hand, both cards together, is so much stronger than just having like just the BCs, just the carries, just the Ravens. So I think this is an excellent spot for him to try to make up a little bit of value. At the worst, he's just going to take the pot down to what he's going to call. Nobody's going to see what he had. He's just going to come across as a little extra aggressive early on, and he can play that into his advantage later if he starts getting hands and he continues to play aggressively. Make people think that he's just bullshitting all the way, and, hopefully get paid off on his strong hands later. But, I mean, I think this is, again, for the first hand of a substantial tournament where you've been playing 6 weeks just to qualify for this sucker, this is a strong play. This is going to get a lot of people curious in situations where they shouldn't, and it's going to get a lot of people scared of you, thinking like, oh my god, he's going this nuts on the first hand. This is okay. I want to stay away from this guy for a little bit. Yeah, if you're paying attention to those things, this is a great play. I think this is something that Ninja can both profit from here and play into his advantage later. Let's see what happens. I just spent 6 minutes talking about the first hand. This might be a long series, a long video. Let's see. Z-Pro does call with the Thor carrier. Carrier's definitely going to die to the Vikings. The question is, can the 72 Banelings kill the 8 Thors? I think they will, and if they don't, the Vikings might... Oh, no, that looks bad. Oh, that's not good. That's... Ooh. Let's see how many we have left. If we can pick off this one, that's good. Middle one, we might still be good here. Yeah, okay. That Thor anti-ground DPS is something scary, so... But yeah, still overall well played by Ninja. That was a little bit closer than I thought, but we'll see here. Olive Tree, second position, 6 BCs. Z-Pro, Z-Pro second position, 11 Ravens. Mr. Olive Tree, third position, 6 BCs. I don't like either of these plays. Alright, so let's look at this. Still no upgrades in the middle. 11 Ravens here, 6 BCs here, and Ninja in last position with the 7 carriers, but we'll get to that in a little bit. 11 carriers here in second position is not super strong. It's not going to carry you in like a 3-way. It's not going to carry you against like Mass Stalker Ultra? I don't know. That's a bad example. The point is that, like, you don't have enough Ravens to just absolutely blow somebody out of the water with just the Ravens. You're playing the Ravens almost in a support capacity. They're going to put down a lot of DPS if they can stay alive, but you need to be able to keep them alive. Having said that, that means you ideally want the pot 1v1. You do not want to be up against somebody super strong. You really kind of want to see the second card before you get too crazy. A bet of 2 lets you see the second card without you being crazy. It does not build the pot for you to win a whole lot of chips when you do hit that second card. It also doesn't scare anybody, honestly. Like, if you have a vaguely playable hand, like, okay, 8 chips in the pot to start, you raise it by 1, so now there's 9 chips in the pot. Mr. Olive Tree has to call 1 into a pot of 9. He literally, if he wins this pot 1 out of 10 times, he profits by making this call. All he has to do is win 1 out of 10 times against everything that you would make this play with for this to be a profitable call for him. Olive Tree should be calling. Royal Ace maybe should be calling. Dog should be calling. McSharp, honestly, maybe should call here. And Ninja definitely is going to be in. You really want to see a 5-way hand with 11 Ravens? No. No, you don't. Now, to follow up on that, Mr. Olive Tree, 6 Battle Cruisers. Very strong hand. Again, you want to build a pot here. 2 chips into a pot is not building a pot. Z-Pro honestly should have raised this to like 4 or 5. Olive Tree probably should have re-raised to like 15, 20. And then we could have seen some action over here. These 5 guys are going to fold. Ninja would get a decision to make. As it is, we should see a lot of calls here. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Royal Ace does call with the 11 Infestors. Dog should definitely call with the 10 Immortals. Oh, wow. He lets it go. Oof. That's a big fold. McShark comes along with the Zerglings, right? All right, so now here. This is absolutely a spot for Ninja. Nobody here has shown strength yet, at all. You need to go ahead and build this pot and hopefully get like 1 or 2 callers just to get some chips in there and see what happens on the second card. It is very unfortunate that you're in first position. Like, that sucks. But honestly, that's even more the reason to try to force people out of the pot. You don't want those drawing hands that we talked about, like the 50 Marines. You don't want those still in the pot. Because if they hit something decent, if they hit Vikings, Corruptors, Phoenix, Cyclones, they could hit Stalkers, they could hit Hydras. There's just a lot of dangerous shit out there that could hit. And that's not good. So let's make a big re-raise here. We have 7 carriers. It's not like we're raising with nothing. Like, this is a strong hand. We need chips in the pot, and we need drawing hands out of the pot. Let's pop this up by like 10. I want to see him make it 11 all day. Wow. Such passive play. My goodness. All right, let's see what hit. Battle Cruisers still naked. Z-Pro, a little bit better help with multi-way pot in the Tempest, but not hugely, not a great count. Ninja Bricks with the 8 Cyclones. You really want more Cyclones, they're not that strong. Royal Ace does have a little interesting draw in the DTs. He has a counter to them himself, so that's one less card he has to worry about with removal. Zell does pick up 9 Void Rays. Again, decent, not amazing count, and really with Void Rays, I feel like you really want upgrades, which we don't have. Without the support, I don't really feel like the Voids are that good here. McSharp has a lock on the ground game. Like, he counters the DTs, he's going to kill anything that calls on the ground, but that's all he's got. So he should also be out of this hand. Realistically, we're looking here. We're looking at Ninja, we're looking at Olive Tree, probably looking at Royal Ace. Ninja being first to act has to keep in mind he just called last to act in the first card. And now he's first to act on the second card. If you bet out first to act on the second card after just calling the first card, it's called a donk bet. We call it this because generally you want to check to the razor on the second street and see if they continue their aggression. Trap them, let them make a continuation bet, a C bet, and put some more chips in the pot, and then react accordingly, right? In this situation, because everybody has been so passive at the table already, I kind of don't hate the donk bet. I know we're only 2 hands in, but you got to think, again, we're back to the conversation that, like, this is the second ever league tournament finals. We're at the runner-up table. Only first place gets anything. People are going to play a little skittish early on. They're going to play passively. They're going to play defensively. They're going to be like, ooh, I don't want to get involved unless I have, like, the absolute nuts. Throw that donk bet out there. Take the pot down. Maybe you get, like, a caller. You're probably pretty decent against them as long as it's not the Ravens. Give it a shot. Again, I'd like to see a bet to, like, 10 to 12 here, I think. If Ninja checks, Z-Pro didn't pick up great and wants to keep it multi-way with like the low counter Ravens and Tempest. I think a check is in order from Z-Pro. Olive Tree probably should take a shot of the pot with only Royal Ace and McSharp behind. Royal Ace, I'm sure, is going to call with the DTs, as long as it's not like an insane, like, blast you out of the pot raise. And McSharp should probably fold. Ninja checks. I don't like that check. It's okay. Yeah, I don't think I like that check. I can't defend it. I don't think. Z-Pro raises, like, why are you raising one, bro? What does that accomplish? It doesn't accomplish anything. Mr. Olive Tree does take a shot with the 6 BCs, raises it to 19. I do like his chances with the BCs as like the second best tier unit. The reason I put BCs over carriers is that BCs can Yamato the carriers. They can Yamato anything like big and valuable, obviously. But they're going to Yamato the carriers, get a couple of them dead before the actual fight starts. Then you're facing like 6 BCs versus like 5-4 carriers. With no upgrades, the BCs, I think, win that. Olive Tree with the raise, though. Royal Ace makes the call with the DTs. I don't hate it. It's not a bad call. It does kind of suck that you have 4 players behind you still to act to that raise. That's not a situation you want to be in with DTs. Remember that with DTs, every player left active in the pot is 2 more chances for them to draw a counter and detect your DTs. So you really ideally either want to take the pot down without a showdown with DTs, or you want to be heads up against one person that you don't read as super strong. Ninja does call. Z-Pro lets it go. So we have a 4-way pot. I don't love a lot of this play, to be perfectly honest. It's not the worst. Like, I don't think we're making huge mistakes here. But I think we are leaving a significant amount of value on the table. Like, we're not losing anything here for the most part. I think everybody's check range is not egregious. But, or calling range, I'm sorry, is not egregious. But I feel like somewhere in the course of that hand, there should have been another bet or two. Like, that's really passive play. But as it is, Olive Tree and Royal Ace split the kind of small pot. Alright. Dog this time with the DTs. Zell with 16 Phoenix, pretty respectable. Terran upgrades, they cut off, so I don't know what they are. Unfortunately, nothing Terran on the board to really take advantage of it. Dog should probably raise here. I would have liked to see a little bit bigger raise this early on, but let's see. Zell does call with the 16 Phoenix. Should be kind of folds around after that. I don't think Olive Tree's going to play the Infestors. Alright. I've talked about this before. I'll mention it again briefly. When you're playing wildcards, a lot of the time, you're not looking to counter a completed hand. Like, if somebody has, like, Stalker Viking, or, like, Disruptor Phoenix, you know, something like you have ground covered, clearly. You have air covered, clearly. You maybe have a couple of weaknesses here and there, but, like, nothing serious. Wildcard sucks against that situation. Wildcard is pretty okay at countering one specific card that doesn't have a big unit count. So, 11 DTs, you want to roll for a detector with Wildcard? Absolutely. The situation to do it. You need like one Ghost, one Raven, one Oracle. Well, a few Banelings probably isn't going to happen, but you know, you have a few options in there so that if you hit one of those units, you're good against the DTs, that binary situation. Unfortunately, 11 wildcards, not a great count to really make that play with. But Dog has not really given us any sign that he has DTs. Like a bet of 3x the ante is not very telling of the strength of your hand. That is a very standard, just, I want a couple more chips in the pot, let's see how everybody reacts raise. I do think the meta for early game raises is shifting to bigger raises. I was a big proponent earlier back of like stick with the 3x raise and like adjust from there. I don't think with the stack sizes as deep as they are this early on that a 3x raise is really the way to go. I know that I harp all the time on like you want to bet based on the size of the pot. But when you're playing a survival sit and go, like a freeze out tournament where you cannot rebuy, when you're out of chips, that's it, you do have to put some value on the size of your chip stack. And I think that early game, at least at the 300 level stack, maybe not quite so much at the 125 level stack for pub games, putting those couple of extra chips puts that little tiny bit of extra pressure on somebody that, like, instead of betting on the second card for like 5% of your chip stack, I'm going to bet for like 10, 11, 12% of your chip stack. And it's not necessarily enough this early on to change somebody's like mental game and maybe make them fold where they would have called. But I think that if you're a profitable poker player and you're making profitable bets, making that slightly larger raise this early on is going to net you over time a few more chips per hand, and it's going to set you up a little bit better situation when the antes are at like 3, 4, 5, so that you can have a little bit more room to maneuver even with like the 100 big bet stack or the 100 ante stack. Maybe you have 110, 115. Maybe you can cover somebody that's one spot below you and knock them out super early, get them out of the way. That would be more for like an MMR-based play, not so much for a winner-take-all. But yeah, like I think the bigger raise for early games right now is a better response to the current meta. But as played, like a raise to 3 and a call, nobody is screaming DTs here. Nobody is screaming anything in power. We're just kind of setting up and seeing how the hand plays out. As it is, I think Dog needs to make a fairly substantial bet. Again, your goal with DTs is either win the pot without a showdown or split the pot, basically. Unless you have like a really nice composed hand where the DTs can actually fight and be protected and do DPS, which is rare. My God, 22 minutes into this video and I'm on hand 3. Rambling a little bit much. Let's see what happens. Let's just shut it down. Let's see. Dog checks. That's horrible. That should not be your play. Zell raises 5 times the pot, 6 times the pot. That's also horrible. I kind of understand why. I think I don't agree with it. I think it's a terrible situation. I think it's a terrible bet. Make it like 9, 10 to go. You're polarizing your opponent's calling range here. He's only going to call you with the best possible hands. He's only going to call you when you're probably beaten. So you're risking way more chips for the exact same outcome. But when he does have a hand, now instead of losing like 10 chips, you're losing 66. Should easily be a fold here. Dog thinking about it. I mean, damn. Let's see. Oh, time's out. I wonder if he was AFK or if he just thought too long. I don't know. What do we got here? All right. Third position, Dog. 24 Vikings. Parados 2-2. Definitely still a raisable hand even without the upgrades. Absolutely raisable. Zell should be folding. McSharp folding. Pokemon probably folding. Ninja folding. Z-Pro has a hand. Not great. Not terrible. Let's it go. All 3 back in first position probably should not be playing these lurkers. Simply for the fact that after the second card, he is in first position. And lurkers are not an easy card to play. You do get decent ground coverage from them, but I mean, like, sometimes you want something in, well, actually I won't say that. Sometimes you want like extra DPS behind them. Sometimes you want them to have air coverage. Like they're a little bit of a particular unit in that like they do really well when they get situated and burrowed, but against certain units you're just going to lose so many of them before they burrow and start doing anything that like it sucks. So for that reason, I really don't like playing lurkers in early position. I feel like Olive Tree, if he was going to play this hand, he should have raised it, put more pressure on Dog. Royal Ace, not a fan of the call, I don't think here. I mean, it is a really cheap hand, but again, like position, you're still going to have to see what Dog wants to do here. He's the one coming out raising. Uh, yeah, let's see here. Olive Tree with 16 ghosts, not too bad. Keeping them in back. Let's see, Royal Ace checks. Dog picks up the 5 Liberators, gets the suited bonus. Raises 3. Again, this is... You're giving your opponents almost 5-1 odds. If they can win 1 in 6 times, they should call. How many hands are you folding out here with that knowledge? Make a significant raise. Make it like 9, 10, 12. Dude, come on. Olive Tree does call with the Ghost. Royal Ace, of course, calls, getting insane odds. Snipes going off on the Mutas. Lurkers getting some damage in on the Thors. Liberators being really annoying. Liberator's going to win it with the Vikings. Well played. Dog takes it. Gotta bet more, dude. There, like when you have a hand that strong, you need to get some value out of it. Hands like that, like even with only the 5 Liberators, they don't come along that often. You need to make some chips when you get those. All right, Dog really the only one with a reasonable hand here. 24 Infestors, pretty good start. 16 Mutas for Olive Tree, 6 Altars for Z Pro, 7 DTs for Ninja, 15 wildcards for Zell. Nobody. Excuse me. Nobody really has a completed hand here. Ninja's playing the DTs. Olive Tree may be playing the Mutas. Dog, I mean, you can't play just naked Infestors. It's horrible. Zell, 15 wildcards. Again, wildcard's good for countering one card, not good for countering a made hand. I could see Ninja taking a shot at this pot with the DTs being as, binary as they are. I think that's about it. Like, this should really go check, 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 bet, fold all around. I can maybe see Dog getting a little frisky here with the Infestor Zealot combo. But, I mean, he's in an early position, too. And he doesn't even have the Zealots in front right now. What's he doing? Zell does make a little bet here with the wild cards. If he gets anybody standing up to him, I think he's going to fold. What do we got? Ninja calling with the DTs. That makes sense. Dog puts the Zealots in front finally. Maybe he is considering a call. With it being that cheap, I mean, I don't blame him. Oracle reveals the DTs. That's all it takes. Yep. Zell takes it away. Again, with a very relatively small pot. Only 12 bets in there at an 8-player hand. Like, that's tiny. Z-Pro this time, really the only one with any power. 8 Thors should be a raise in fairly, slightly late position here. MP +1. People timing out. Y'all got a skin on the line, an avatar on the line, and y'all are just not paying attention. Royal Ace steps up, taking the shot in last position at the pot. I love this. Not enough players do this. What would I have done here instead? Make it like 15. A little bit bigger. Just a little bit bigger. 2 reasons for that. Of course, a bigger raise size gives your opponent slightly worse odds. A little bit better chance that they make a mistake. Second, think mentally about this. How much credit do you give to a raise that's one of the preset raise sizes, right? The 2x, 3x, 4x, right? Somebody didn't think about that. They just clicked the fucking button and were like, fuck it. That 12, the raise to 12 there is a 4x raise. You just click the button. It was like, fuck it. What if you took the time to slide that slider just up to 15 and then hit the button? Everybody at that point, well, the people paying attention at that point should be able to go, oh shit, he actually thought about that and adjusted the slider to exactly that. I bet he might have something decent back there that he's trying to play with. If you're trying to get folds, you gotta think strategically about that. Think of like what everybody else thinks about your play. You're making a bet. That's great. The first bet, what does that always mean? Not a whole lot. You could be throwing it out there with anything. If you take the time to slide that little slider and be like, this is what I want to make it, instead of just click the button and you're done, a little bit more believable. As played, not terrible, but I mean, I think it's just a little bit better, making that little bit of a slide raise. Definitely should see Z-Pro call. McSharp calls with the 20 Zealots. Okay. 20 Zealots at 3-3 is not the worst. My issue with Zealots is that they don't have the DPS that like Zerglings have. And as long as you're not up against significant AoE, those melee units are going to just... they're going to surround everything on the ground and tear it down. Zealots are super tanky, but I feel like they have less DPS, like significantly less DPS. I'd have to do the math on that. So those units that you're trying to surround and tear down real quick to help support your second card, keep them from taking damage from like your air units or whatever, they're going to be around shooting more. Yeah, the Zealots can surround and keep them from moving and getting into range of your other cards depending on the situation, but for the most part, like, if you're going to make this play, I feel like it's better with Zerglings with 3-3 instead of Zealots with 3-3. If you're going to play the shitty, like, tier 1 melee unit. As it stands, I mean, still a very interesting call. And McSharp, of course, as we talk about, you know, if you're getting a decent price to call the first card, call it, see what you get on the second card. He got a decent price given what he had, and now he banks 15 Ravens. Awesome. See how he plays them. I wouldn't hate a check here. I wouldn't hate a bet here. Either is fine, I think. That is a large bet, slightly over the size of the pot. Z-Pro with Protoss 3-3. You only have 18 Stalkers, which is tempting, but what do you beat here? This to me is screaming S tier, A plus tier, like high A plus tier. Like, what's in your range here? Of course, you have Raven Battlecruiser Carrier, probably HT, probably Ghost. Stalker Thor is gonna do okay against Stalker Thor is gonna do okay against. Wait, am I mixing myself up? I think I'm mixing myself up. I think Z-Pro has to let this go. Even if Royal Ace Call is giving you great odds and a three-way pot with the Thors, your Stalkers just don't have as much value here as you think you do versus a raise of this size. This screams just like I binked something. I just got an insane second card. And 18 Stalkers, even with 3-3, is probably not going to do that amazing against that kind of range. This might be a crying fold, but I think it's a fold. Okay, good. McSharp does take it down. Would have been nice to see him get a little bit of value out of that hand as well, but it's alright. Zell, first position with 3 DTs, raises it to 9 under the gun. We talked about this in a previous video. You have to make this play on occasion with DTs. You don't want to make it a lot, and you definitely don't want to make it a lot with 3 DTs. But, I mean, every once in a while, gotta do it. It's alright. Parker Munch and fold. Z-Pro with 10 Liberators. Maybe has a call here with Terran 3-3. Looks good. Should fold all the way back around. I don't think Royal Ace is going to play here. Oh, man. Oh, wow, he does play. Only with half counter Corruptor, too, with no upgrades. Alright. Zell does pick up 24 queens, great for a split. 13 Swarm Hosts for ace, that's a decent split hand as well. Z-Pro with 3 immortals lets it go. Zell, again, with this gigantic raise, betting the size of the pot, basically. Trying to get folds into DTs. I don't hate it with the queens backing up. Like, you basically have two, like, very significant time cards here. You don't have a lot of equity in taking the pot down, but with the big size raise here, you are going to encourage Royal Ace to fold the majority of his hands. He's not going to call with a lot, so you can go ahead and just take that pot down and not have to risk the split. It's dangerous, but at this stage, I would rather Zell make this play at this stage of the game rather than a little bit down the road where the antes are up to like 8, 10, 12, and you're risking a much more significant portion of your stack size to make the same size bet compared to the pot. Let's see here. All right. McSharp, 3 carriers, first position. Not bad. Can be a raise. Zerg 3/3. We've talked about this. Zerg, not a terribly aggressive or terribly like fearful upgrade to have on the board. Royal Ace here in late position should probably be raising with the 5 battle cruisers. Z-Pro, maybe with the lurkers. Especially with the 3/3. I think that's a decent spot here. If you're gonna do it there, with the 3/3. Yeah, let's see Royal Ace make the raise here. Raises it to 12. Same thing, 4x bet. Zell probably gonna let go of the Broodlords. Oh, actually calls it. Okay, interesting. With the Zerg 3/3, I can understand. McSharp does call with the 3 carriers. That's... I don't like the call here with the carriers for 2 reasons. One is that Zell is already in the pot. So now you have a 3-way hand. If either player here, Zell or Royal Ace, has significant anti-air, such as Viking, Corruptor, Phoenix, the stuff that's like mass air that does anti-air, when they fight in the 3-way, it's going to split. So your 3 carriers are now going to be fighting like a decent half count of Viking, Corruptor, Phoenix. You're probably going to lose that fight. Second reason is that you have these players behind you that can also come into the pot and also wreck your day. There are definitely times, 100%, even at a full table like this, to play 3 carriers. This is not one of those times. Pokemon in there with the 17 Infestors. Again, this is not a good play. Infestors should very much be saved for one-on-one fights. I don't even like them in 3-way fights. Even with 25 Infestors, even with like perfect count of another unit, they just spread themselves too thin. Infestors, kind of, like they do a couple of things, but they're really shitty at them, honestly. They shut down like big capital ships, like big low count units. And they can fungal like giant mass units and get some decent damage in, like Terran infantry, that kind of thing. Zerglings, Banelings, of course. Like you can't even call anything Protoss with fungals because fungal does 80 damage. Zealot has 150 health pool, so 2 fungals just to kill zealots. That's a lot of energy. Now you don't have a neural parasite left over. Also, a lot of those fungals are going to stack, which means that they don't do the bonus damage. Also, a lot of those fungals are going to miss because they're a projectile. It's just, no, no. Bad idea. Don't call this. Pokemon. Bad. No. All 3 should definitely be folding here. Alright. Let me think about this situation for a second here. So McSharp picks up half count Marine. Not bad, not good. You don't have upgrades. You don't have a great tank count. You definitely want the carriers in front of the Marines here. The Marines are a support unit. Zell, 3 Void Rays, we're good. Not gonna. Nah. Royal Ace here should only be interested if the pot stays 4 ways with these BC. Well, okay, let me not say that. Royal Ace, ideally, wants this pot to go 4 ways with the Mothership. The Mothership is going to stay mostly not touched during the 4-way fight, and then the BCs are going to mop up, right? So it should come down to Royal Ace and one other player with the Mothership still intact, cloaking the battlecruisers. Battlecruisers clean up the fight, take it down, right? Pokemon, with his hand, wants this heads up. You have Phoenix and Fester. Both of them, great hands to play one-on-one, not so much for 3-way or bigger than that. Pokemon wants to see a check from McSharp. He wants to be able to bet big here and then get like 1 call. Maybe. The call is even questionable because so many people are in the pot. While it's likely that there is some form of capital ships involved right now, without the re-raise on the first card, nobody is guaranteed to really have like a big count of capital ships, which is kind of what you're looking for there. You want to be able to neural parasite like 5, 6, 7 capital ships, have them blow up the rest of the second card, and then have your second card come in and kill the rest of the capital ships once they drop the neural. Strategy-wise, I think this should be a check from McSharp with the Carrier Marine. I think Pokemon needs to make a significant bet. 45 plus. Royal Ace is probably going to have to fold to that. Zell, definitely going to have to fold to that. McSharp is going to have a tough decision. I don't think you can call specifically with McSharp's hand in this situation against a big bet from Pokemon, but I don't think it's like a 100% fold spot. I think on occasion, depending on your read, you have to make the call on occasion just to show that, like, you're not going to be pushed over by bluffs. You are willing to play slightly more marginal hands. And again, that's also going to depend on the bet size. McSharp is still hovering here basically at like 300 chips. If he's only giving up, like, say, a fifth of his stack, maybe a little bit less, you can gamble. Make that call. See what happens. If it's anything bigger than that, you're risking a lot of your tournament survivability later on for close to probably a 50-50 shot here. That's an interesting spot. Let's see how it plays out here. Here, hopefully comes the bet from Pokemon. Checks it. Wow. Royal Ace. I don't like this raise from Royal Ace. Royal Ace with the Mothership and the only 5 BCs and no upgrades really wants this pot multi-way. You want the Mothership in the back. It will move forward and hopefully stay kind of behind the BCs, keeping the BCs alive until things turn to focus on the Mothership. If you're going to bet it, well, that's like third pot? Yeah, it's like third pot. Okay, I take that back. That's not bad. Third pot's not bad. Zell does get out of the way, as he should. McSharp now has a decision. Still no upgrades for him. I mean, it's lets it go. Pokemon, what you doing? Actually does make the call with the Infestors. This should be a win for him, actually. This is, unfortunately, Royal Ace accomplished what Pokemon should have. Royal Ace made the pot heads up. Pokemon should have tried to go for the pot heads up. But it's all good. And I want to, again, stress this. I've talked about it on Discord. I've talked about it on streams. I've talked about it, I think, in these teaching battle poker videos. Infestors suck. They suck. They're not good. Stop playing them like they're good. This is the reason. If those Infestors had better AI for making the BCs like fight each other, or like focusing one down at a time, or even if there was an AI that said, hey, there's nothing left for me to fight except for these units that I currently have neural parasited, I'm going to go kill this neural parasiting units. So much better. Absolutely playable. Right now, as they are, no. Terrible. C tier. Bad best. They're going to cause a draw here. You should have probably won this pot. You have 23 friggin' Phoenixes. That's a lot against 5 BCs. Yeah, they have a lot of armor, but you neuroparasite a few, take them down a little bit at a time. Easy peasy. Kill them in a minute and 10 seconds. No problem. Here, because they keep neuroparasiting, and everybody's just going to sit there like, well, they're my units now. Guess I shouldn't shoot them. Oh, look, Neural's over! Oh, wait, I'm going to Neural him again. Not going to shoot him. Just got to chill here. Oh, it's a draw. Well, fuck. That's where we're at. Stop playing Infestors. They can be good with proper reads in the right situation. But I think most of the people currently playing Infestors do not understand those situations. And hopefully they will come up in the future. And I can talk about them. And teach you about them. And teach you how to play Infestors. But right now, just don't play them. Don't do it. Olive Tree. Early position +1. Makes the raise with 20 Ravens. Love it. Zell in there with 9 HTs. Love it. Ninja probably should play these Vikings. Let's see. Let's him go. Okay, so we're heads up. Olive Tree with a lock on the hand right now as long as Zell doesn't roll like a ghost. Zell does raise 12 into 56. Oh, there's a good re-raise. And Zell instantly calls. I do not like that insta-call. I do not like that insta-call at all. Oh my god, was that enough feedbacks to finish off all the Ravens? I was entirely wrong. I totally misread that situation. Damn. I thought they were only... What is... Well, F12 doesn't tell you what spellcast costs are. I did not realize that, High Templar can get 2 feedbacks. Is it 2 feedbacks instead of Storm off? I'll look it up later. Huh. I'll have to look that up. I might be very wrong about that interaction. Here we go. Ninja, first to act, 4 BCs. Makes the raise. Not terrible. Gotta do it sometimes. Olive Tree, 6 Voids. Gonna let it go. Zell, maybe playable here with 88 Banes. Pokemon, maybe playable with the 16 Lurkers in position. Pokemon does make the call. Ninja should make a very easy call here, getting almost 7-1, 8-1, something like that. Not a great draw for Dog. Decent draw for Ninja. Great draw for Pokemon. Oh my goodness. Pokemon should be definitely... whoa. Oh, I don't want to go back. If I saw that right, yeah, Dog raised 5 into a pot of 140? Dude, don't do that. Everybody's going to call. What are you accomplishing? You're not making the pot bigger. You're not scaring anybody away. Bet bigger. There's 140 chips in the pot. You're betting 5. Nobody's folding for that much. If I offer to flip a coin with you, and I say if it lands on what I call, you owe me $1. But if it lands on what you call, I owe you $1,000. You got to play that all day, right? So then why are you betting 5 into 1 when they can win 140? Nobody's going to ever fold. Come on, man. Oh, I should go back to the fight. Sorry. See how this goes down. Corruptors rolling through the Mutalisks. About to roll through the Battle Cruisers, hopefully. Yeah. Those Lurkers should be able to make short work of the Queens. Sorry, work texts. Yep, Lurker Corruptor, taking it down. Alrighty. Some decent hands here. Let's see. Z Pro. 19 Stalkers. Okay, check. Like it. 12 Oracles. Playable. Royal Ace. 22 Infestors. Early position, but still playable. Dog checks the 6 BC. Dog checks the 6 BCs. This is about where I take offense to it. Alright, like Z Pro. 19 Stalkers. Playable, but early position. Check, right? Olive Tree. 12 Oracles. Playable, but early position. Check it. Royal Ace, 22 Infestors, definitely a check. Can be played depending on your read, but you're still kind of in early position. It's not a power unit. You don't want to raise. Here, you have 75% of max count of the second best unit in the game. You're in slightly middle position. You're like a little bit early, but whatever. And you're checking. Do you hate money? I think you hate money. Mick Sharp does make the raise here with 18 wild cards. Get the party started. Decent. I mean, that if nobody's opened yet, that is an opening hand, 100%. That should be a raise. Z Pro probably should entertain a call here. It's gonna be close to 10% of your stack, but you can still gamble that much right now and be okay. Olive Tree, I'd still kind of like to see a call here, I think. Let's go. Royal Ace. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to call, at least you only have 2 people behind you, but... Royal Ace. Why are you worried about MMR, bro? This is for an avatar. Nobody cares about MMR when you're playing for an avatar, bro. Avatars are forever. MMR is temporary. McSharp does pick up a great second card with 18 Queens. Should be raising pretty significantly here. I'd like to see 40 to 50. Last position, closing the action. 59, a little high, but I'm down. Alright. Gets the call through. See what he rolls. Still getting work text. I apologize. McSharp clearing a very nice hand here. As long as he actually takes it down, there's still an Infestor left. Yeah, it's going down. Nice. Nice. Alrighty. Olive Tree. First to act, 86 Banelings. Min raise. I think I'm about to say that I like a min raise. I think I like a min raise here. You're kind of getting a little dual purpose with this bet. A, you're raising an early position. As small as it is, at least it's not 1 chip, like it was, 1 ante. 5 chips, if you still have a 300 chip stack, would mean you have 60 bets. So you're playing almost 2% of your stack to that. That's a decent little start, something. But it is going to fold out a couple of just hands here. Not let them draw to a second card that could potentially get you some air, something tanky on the ground, something like that. Infestors, of course, counter the crap out of Banelings. Not the worst idea. It's not going to build you a big pot or anything, but you can at least kind of narrow it down and see what you get in your second card and then play the Banelings accordingly. And of course, if you get re-raised, it should be a fairly easy fold. Yeah, see, lots of calls here. And again, like with Banelings, you don't want multiple calls. But you're folding out the riffraff, and then you can go in hard on the second card if you hit and play it from there. As is, all of 311 Hylians obviously not going to go in. Royal Ace, Muta Marine, very similar units, honestly. They're both great DPS. They both do very good targeted DPS because they tend to, chunk in on, the same target. but they're both so fragile. Like I can't see Royal Ace getting a whole lot of value out of this. Zell, 5 units total. Carrier Thor. If it stays cheap, you can kind of just pay to see what everybody else is doing, and like if anybody's getting out of line with like low count units or like a lot of just like really shitty like Hellbats or something, you might be okay. Not a great spot. As long as it stays cheap, you're good. McSharp, no. You're in a 5-way pot. Somebody's gonna have air. All you have are tanks and a mothership. Just get out of the way. Pokemon, kind of the same deal. Like all you have are ultras and then like some wild cards. Wild cards, unless you draw a miracle, you're fucked. Just don't do it. Action should be right here. Royal Ace does go ahead and raise a little bit more, but again, I'm all this game I've been harping on these raise sizes. 15 into 65. You're giving 4 1/3 to 1. Like, that's such a big range that your opponent should be calling with. If you really want folds, you need to bet bigger. If you want people to make mistakes, you probably need to bet bigger. As it is, you're going to get people calling with kind of some bullshit, but the bullshit that they call with is probably a correct call. See what McSharp does with the tanks. Interesting. All right. 3-way pot. McSharp definitely not happy. Royal Ace gonna get wrecked by these ultras. Those mutas are going to, yeah, they're gonna do okay. I don't think the mutas are gonna be able to kill the. Oh wow, yeah, the tanks did some work. Never mind, mutas won this. Whew. Never mind. I was once again very wrong in reading that situation. But it's okay. This is a learning experience for all of us. I hope I'm helping you guys get better. I'm definitely getting better by talking through my like thought processes and how we think about this game together. It's all about learning how to think about poker, not just this is right, this is wrong, don't do this, that kind of thing. Like, you gotta. There's a way to approach this game. Having said that, we're hitting about an hour. I'm barely even 1/3 of the way through this game. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one off, take a break, come back in a little bit, make this a part 2, probably a part 3. So I will be back shortly. See you in a little bit.